So today's video is going to discuss playing in tournaments if you have a handicap or a disability, and I wanted to get some information and do some research, so I went to the Yu-Gi-Oh!-card.com website to see what I could find, and turns out there isn't anything anywhere on the website in regards to having a disability. So I went and emailed Konami directly, as well as some tournament organizers and officials, just to see what information they could provide to me about the subject, and I didn't hear anything back. So I also reached out to Joe Franchino, who is a very well-established head judge in the community, on a old article he used to do on tcgplayer.com, and he did respond and give me some feedback, but it wasn't the information I was looking for. It wasn't a solidified answer, although I'm very grateful that he did start to lead me in the right direction. I find it a bit ironic that as soon as I type in Magic the Gathering disability into the Google search bar, the very first thing to come up on Magic's official website is an entire extensive in-depth article about playing in tournaments with disabilities. What's going on, guys? It's Cimo. So today I wanted to bring to you a video discussing how you can enter a tournament if you have a handicap or disability, and this should really come as no surprise because if you saw yesterday's video, I actually just got back from YCS Toronto, where I went and aided one of my good friends, Philip, who has cerebral palsy, by helping him play and compete in his first ever YCS. And the reason I was inspired to make this video is because the process to actually find any sort of relevant information about how you can compete if you have any sort of physical or mental disability is actually very scarce. There was very little to no information anywhere available for what accommodations you might need or any proper procedures or processes that you need to follow if this is something that you want to do, and how both you can be prepared as well as how Konami is going to be prepared on their end, or the tournament organizers or anything like that, on how everything is going to go and what pretty much is going to ensue if this is the route that you wish to take. So I wanted to make this video kind of as a guide for anyone who is wanting to participate in a tournament but really doesn't know that, A, that you can participate and that they are willing to make accommodations, but B, so that you know that what you need to do and what you should be prepared for so that everything goes smoothly. So essentially what happened was, when we arrived at the venue in Toronto, Philip had everything already completed. He had his deck list, he had all that, and obviously if you get to the venue, you can have all that prepared there as well. Just be sure that you arrive to the venue early enough that you can fill out your deck list, have your money, have all those things situated before going up to register. So what happened was, we went up to the registration table and essentially we just started getting Philip registered, and I asked the person who was so kind enough to help us throughout this entire process how everything works. And essentially what happens is, so in the instance of Philip, or really anyone for that matter who has a physical disability or has a moving impairment, something that it's very difficult for them to move, so if you're bound to a wheelchair, or let's say you have crutches, or whatever the situation may be, Konami events actually provide assigned seating so that you don't have to move and that the players come to you. So in our case, Philip and I essentially just sat at one table. I can't remember which table number. It was somewhere in the mid 100s, I believe. And the entire tournament, our opponents would come and sit with us, and we didn't have to move from table to table, because typically, depending on how your performance in the tournament is playing out, you're moving from table to table, and generally, if you're at table 1 or anywhere in the high tables, you're doing generally very well, and then the lower tables, it tends to go down and down. But in this case, we were kind of just situated in the middle. There was actually someone next to me as well who was also, they had a cane that they had to use, because I believe he told me he just had surgery, so he also was sitting there and his opponents were coming to him as well. So that's really cool that there is that option available for players who don't have the means to kind of move from table to table, or it's very difficult for these types of players to move around. But the biggest issue I have with this is that nowhere on the Yu-Gi-Oh!-card.com website, or anywhere like on the Konami official documents or on the YCS FAQs or anything like that, could could I find any information about this? That's just crazy, because if there's so many players that want to play but they don't know how to go about doing it, they might not even think that they're allowed to. But the thing is, you're absolutely allowed to, and they're more than willing to accommodate as long as you're prepared and you make sure that you tell them that that's what you need, basically boiling down to the fact that communication is key. And I really wanted to go beyond this a little bit more, because the biggest lesson here is not only do you need to be prepared on your end and know everything that you need to do, but also that the fact that communication is key, and that if you can talk and make sure that pretty much that the tournament organizers and the head judge know exactly what's going on, that everyone can be on the same page and you can participate in a tournament. The other thing that happened was, since Philip does have cerebral palsy, he is someone that essentially can't hold his cards. So the whole reason I was there is so that I could hold the cards for him, play the cards down, shuffle the opponent's deck, do all the different things that needed to be done, and that's what I was there to do. Now, what ended up happening was we had to just talk to the head judge quickly to just get his approval so that he knew exactly what was going on. He wanted to verify that Philip was making all mental decisions during gameplay, and I was solely there just as a body so that the cards were being played on the field, and so on and so forth. And once we explained that to him, he gave us the thumbs up and we were good to go. So I just kind of wanted to expand further beyond that, though, just kind of maybe more so than just the situation we were dealing with. So let's say you're someone who has a hearing impairment, and it's very difficult for you to maybe hear when the judges are saying that, you know, there's not much, or that there's time in the round, or when the rounds are up, or different things like that. Let's say, for instance, you could just have signs that you need to give to your opponent to just tell them, like, hey, time's up in the round, or different things like that. Something that's so simple that could allow someone who has a hearing impairment to allow them to play this game as well could just make all the difference in the world and allow them to do something that they might not have thought they would have been able to do. Same thing for someone who has a visual impairment. Now, it's a little bit more tricky because depending on the severity of the visual impairment, it might be difficult for them to play certain cards or do certain actions, but maybe they just need someone to tell them what the cards are that are available, or help them knowing what certain cards are on the field, kind of similar to what I did to Philip. But if that person is willing to find a friend who's going to help them do that, and maybe if they don't mind that they might have to relinquish private information in their hand of what cards they have so that they know what's available, or maybe they have a machine that allows them to see the cards that they have to use, maybe it takes a little bit extra time, but it allows them to play the game. Again, communication is key, and by talking with the tournament organizer as well as the head judge, you can all get on the same page and make sure that you have everything you need so that you can have a wonderful tournament experience. And then going beyond physical disabilities, like maybe you might have a mental disability. So like, let's say you suffer from extreme anxiety, or maybe you're agoraphobic, or maybe you suffer from an extreme or a severe form of autism, and you have problems engaging with people in public or being in large public spaces, or really anything along those lines. There's ways around that as well. There's plenty of online tournaments that are offered by, you know, people like Zodiac Duelist. They offer free online tournaments pretty much every month that you could participate in without having to leave the comfort of your home and be in an environment that's going to make you uncomfortable. Or you can even host a small tournament with your friends in your local area that you do feel comfortable with, maybe at your house or maybe in a location that you feel comfortable with. So maybe it might not be the grand YCS experience, but that shouldn't hinder you from stopping yourself from playing a game that you love. So I really just wanted to make this video as this ultimate guide, essentially, to just let you know there are ways that Konami can accommodate you if you're going to a YCS level event. Hell, even a regional event, I'm sure they're willing to make the same level of accommodations. But the two biggest things to remember is that you need to be prepared and that communication is key. But at the same time, I also in this video want to implore Konami to please please place some sort of document on the official website or maybe in the FAQs of YCS's so that if people with disabilities want to participate in the game, they have a set of directions that they know who they need to talk to or where they need to go once they arrive at the event, or pretty much just a set of instructions of what they need to do so that if they need special accommodations so that they're able to play the game, they know exactly what to do, they know where to go, and it makes the process a lot more fluid, but it also makes it a lot more inclusive for everyone so that they're not so, you know, terrified, let's say, of going and not knowing what to do, or maybe in fear of the fact that they might not be able to compete in a large-scale tournament like this. So I really think Konami could make an improvement here, and this is something so minor but could make such a difference for so many people, and that's why I was really inspired to make this video, because being able to make and just have that sort of impression on someone and be able to make their lives so much easier and bring joy to their life is something I really think that would be so easy to do and could make a world of difference. But guys, let me know down in the comments what you guys think and any advice you guys might have for anyone who has maybe physical or mental disabilities who might want to participate in a large-scale tournament like a regional, like a YCS, hell, even a national or a WCQ. I'd really love to hear your thoughts on the subject, just pretty much to give as much advice as possible to help anyone out who loves playing this game and to give them just an inclusive, comfortable experience. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video as always. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. And if you found this video helpful, consider backing me on Patreon, because just by pledging only $1 a month, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you next time.